Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. On today's expedition, we're continuing the Gulf Mall tour of 2018, and we're embarking on a journey out to Pasadena, Texas, to visit a mall that has seen many names, and today is known as the Macro Plaza Mall, formerly known as the Plaza Paseo, nay, born as the Pasadena Town Square. This mall has a rich Tex Mex culture, and the centerpiece for the mall is a desiccant, lazy river. It looks like a completely dried up riverbed. It's a fascinating structure, and it goes way beyond a typical mall fountain. We're also going to take a walk around two abandoned buildings that share the same parking lot as the mall. Each of these buildings has incredibly unique architecture, one being near brutalist in design with long cement columns, and the other taking inspiration from the work of Frank Lloyd Wright. These buildings are really fantastic looking. So come take a walk with me through this troubled, charming Pasadena mall. But first, a word from our sponsor, Willie the Hillbilly and his pitch for Mountain Dew back in the day.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew! Oh, beautiful Sal was a stone-hearted gal, refusing to bill or to coo. But Clem was right smart, he appealed to her heart with that gal getting good old Mountain Dew.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
Mountain Dew will tickle your innards, 'cause there's a bang in every bottle.
It'll tickle your innards.
Before we jump into the mall, I wanted to take you for a quick walk around these two abandoned buildings, which are situated right in front of the mall, right in the same parking lot. This building was built in 1967, and the locals around Pasadena, they just call it, quote, the old AT&T building. This building and the 3-story parking garage that's attached to it, you'll actually see that in a couple of minutes. But this building and its garage, they were appraised for about $1.6 million in 2012. The building itself has been vacant since late 2011, when AT&T donated it to the city of Pasadena in exchange for relief on tax fees and stuff like that. The deal was approximately about $250,000 both ways between the building and what they got from Pasadena. So it wasn't really a donation, they did get something in return. As of 2018, when I filmed this, the building is obviously still abandoned. Back in October of 2014, Pasadena council member Phil Caton said, "When we first got this building, I went all through the building, and if we had a hurricane come to Pasadena, that's the building I'd want to be in. It is structurally sound. The concrete columns are over-designed. It's a really strong building." End quote. So this building is incredibly sturdy, so I really do hope that they repurpose it. So you can still see some of the branding on there. You see those blue characters. So the SBC, that stands for the Southwestern Bell Company. So this is still part of AT&T, up until 2011. This second building used to be the first Pasadena State Bank, and it was constructed in 1963. The architecture of this structure is utterly fascinating, and once we get closer, you'll see some design elements that are incredibly similar to Frank Lloyd Wright, because the firm that built the bank, who was McKee and Kamroth, they were devotees to Mr. Wright and his unmistakable aesthetic language. The geometric intertwining concrete slabs and networks of overlapping compartments are a dead giveaway. Despite the beautiful aesthetic language that the architects employed to bring this building to fruition, you won't have to look very hard to see just how dilapidated it's become over the years. From years of neglect to tons of storms and scrappers trying to get into the place and take things out, it really is a shame to see how far this building has fallen in the years that it's been around. I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to explore this area because I drove in from New Orleans and it was 6 hours one way, and I was visiting a few other places in the area. But all along this road, there are other abandoned buildings. There's an abandoned hospital right up the street from this, and there's all these little fascinating shops and restaurants and stuff. This area really is fantastic, and I hope that it finds a revitalization soon. We're coming around the side of the building right now, and you'll see some pools of water that are just completely stagnant, and there's broken concrete everywhere, and this place has been ravaged by Mother Nature over the years. She has not been kind to this structure. But if you look at the top of the building, you'll see some beautiful cantilevered leaded glass hanging over the side, which is a direct tribute to Frank Lloyd Wright's ample use of leaded glass in his work. You'll find that in a ton of his properties. This building was the central hub of Pasadena, Texas, and a silhouette of this building was even printed on children's report cards as the symbol of the town. By the 1990s, the building wound up in foreclosure, and by 2005, the city issued a demolition permit for the vacant structure. KT Realty Development purchased the building in the late aughts, but in 2008, Hurricane Ike wreaked havoc on the structure. The stained glass was mostly destroyed, and there was massive flooding. And most recently, Harris County appraisers stated that the building only adds an underwhelming $100 to the entire lot. Plans to renovate the structure have not come to fruition, and it still sits vacant to this day. You can get a glimpse of the mall right there. See the red awning? This is right in the same parking lot. There's a lot of windows that have been broken out of this structure. Scrappers have gotten in. They've even tagged up the top floors. So they've been up to the top and people have been inside of this building and they've been really tearing it apart up there. So if I were KT Realty Development, I would really work to redevelop this property sooner rather than later. Take a look at this flooding. That water extends all the way throughout this structure in the basement. And even in the AT&T building, it's completely flooded. You get a wide shot here of the parking lot that has incredible damage that it's sustained over the years. But then you see more of these geometric shapes, that awesome pastel color from back in the 70s. That kind of design doesn't really happen anymore. And there's also a squirrel running on the roof. Awesome. But the design elements of this place, all these geometric shapes and stained leaded glass on the top of the roof, how cool is this place? And back in the day, I can't imagine any other place being the center of this town. There were doctors, lawyers, you name it, on the board of directors of this bank, and they had offices all up and down. So when you walked into this place, it wasn't just a bunch of bankers. It was everyone in the community holding office here. And it really was their central hub. And it's kind of sad to think that their central place of business, of their community, has gotten this bad. So as we inch closer towards the mall, we'll get one last look at the gnarly parking lot and a wide shot of the bank itself. But I'd also like to take a look at that AT&T building one more time and the parking garage next to it. So there's a wide shot of the old AT&T building, and this is the parking garage that's right next to it. Originally, I thought this was the mall's parking garage, but this was definitely part of the AT&T building, and it was locked up. You couldn't get in there. For what it's worth, the structure didn't look so bad on that parking garage. It could probably be repurposed with minimal effort and money. That is one hell of a label scar amidst palm trees. So we're about to get into the mall, but before we do, I'm trying to get a peek inside of this Macy's because I saw some people working on it, and I thought they might have been inside. I could have opened the door and got a peek. But unfortunately, I think they were just surveying the land, and they never went inside. But let's get inside the mall. The building that we're looking at that has the Macy's label scar, that building opened on August 25th, 1962 as a Foley's, existing as a standalone department store. And there was no mall, it was just that department store for quite a while. Fast forward 20 years, and plans to build an entire mall around that Foley's materialized pretty quickly. In 1982, the 745,000 square foot, $15 million Pasadena Town Square Mall was built by Chicago-based JMP Properties. Their original anchor lineup consisted of the already existing Foley's and a brand new Joske's and Palais Royale.
Concepts and engineering departments. They developed a multifunctional bathroom. Privacy, I don't even know what I'm reading. I can't even read the deal straight. We suppose we open. Gotta do it again, right now. The accoutrement that you will need. Accoutrement? What is that shit? I don't know, shit. It's just all gone. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Not even funny anymore.
In 1986, Canadian real estate and investment company Campo purchased the Allied brand, including all 27 remaining Joske's, rebranding the chain to Dillards by 1987. All of the courtyards and wings in this mall feel pretty dead, and as we get deeper into it, you'll see that a lot of the businesses are centered around the dried up river, fountain, body of water, small mall, ocean, whatever you want to call it. There are still businesses in here, it's just that the wings of the malls are dead. Santa's line is also pretty dead too. They look incredibly bored. Ownership changed hands to the lender American General Life Insurance Company in late 1995, after JMP let the mall fall into foreclosure. And then 2 years later, after American General bought the mall, they decided to construct a fourth anchor, and in November of 1997, a brand new 160,000 square foot Sears was opened, bringing the mall finally to its ultimate grand total of 745,000 square feet. So the mall was a little bit smaller than that before the Sears, which we're looking at right now. I'm not sure if that Sears is still open, so let me know in the comments if it's still open. I also don't know if this whole dried up lake bed is still there. I have heard some rumors that that whole thing was covered up by a stage, but I don't know if that's the stage we're looking at right now. So let me know in the comments if the Sears is there and if that whole dried up mall ocean is still there. 5 years after the Sears opened, American General sold the mall. Pasadena Mall Investment, which was a subsidiary of Maya Properties, which is just one of the many holding companies led by Los Angeles investors Cam Mateen and Bob Yari. They acquired the Pasadena Town Square Mall through the purchasing arm of Maya Properties called Day Realty Advisors. The purchase price was undisclosed, and I couldn't find one record of it. No SEC filings, no tax assessment records, nothing. But if I had to guess, it would probably be in the neighborhood of about $30 to $40 million. But that's a guess. Just 4 years after they bought the mall, the Foley's was converted to Macy's, and in the same year, 2006, the Dillards shuttered. The mall just sort of sat there, and it was just a part of the community. It was the local mall that wasn't really exciting and nothing much happened there. But for about 10 years, the mall really didn't do much. But then in August of 2015, Guardian Equity LLC purchased the mall from Bob Yari and planned extensive renovations to occur over the next year. The mall received a fresh coat of paint, new lighting, a shiny new stage on that dead mall dried up ocean, and it got a new name. In August of 2015, the mall was renamed to Plaza Paseo. Now I do have corroborating sources saying that these renovations happened. But again, I'd like you to tell me if you're local to this area, if that stage that we saw there, was that the stage that they put in, or is it now different? Guardian Equity had huge plans for this mall, and they wanted to cater more towards their Hispanic community. And you'll see a lot of branding across the mall and a lot of decorations that are geared towards a more ethnic crowd. Cynthia Adams, who is the regional manager for Guardian Equity, was quoted saying the following, quote, "Guardian Equity only buys properties that are a little distressed or not well managed in Hispanic communities. We promote bilingual advertising and try to meet the needs of the community. From this point, after 2015, after the new name, after the rebranding, the mall would gain more Hispanic charm, and the management was actively working to cater to the needs and desires of Pasadena's more diverse community." By November of 2016, the proposed renovations were complete, and the mall had its grand reopening, which was now called Plaza Paseo. Exactly 1 year to the day of when I'm saying this, March 26th, in 2017, Macy's closed at Plaza Paseo. But a few years prior to the closing, all of the merchandise on the second floor was moved to the first floor, and the second floor was closed off to the public, and that was closed for a long time. Harris County, Texas has the second largest Hispanic population in the United States, second to Los Angeles County, California. The largest Mexican city across the border from Houston and Pasadena in that area is Monterrey, Mexico. And Guardian Equity is making a conscious effort to cater to the Hispanic community using this city as its inspiration. As you saw through the video, there's a ton of Hispanic influence. There's a lot of stores with Spanish names, and in the food court, you saw some Mexican-themed artwork. The Tex Mex charm in this mall is abundant. The owners took inspiration directly from the 400,000 square foot town square in Monterrey called Macro Plaza. So in 2018, Guardian Equity changed the name of the mall from Plaza Paseo to Macro Plaza, and they're actively turning the mall into a community center with a huge emphasis on the thriving Hispanic community. I think this mall has a pretty decent chance of surviving, and while there are a lot of dead stores in here, I think with the proper renovations and turning this place into more of a community experience center, I think that this mall will have a good chance in revitalizing this community. At this point, I've traveled all over the country, even into Canada, and I've even seen some dead malls in Europe. But the one thing that will always strike me, no matter where I am, and no matter what country I'm in, no matter what mall I'm seeing, is during the holidays when a mall, even as dead as this, with dead courtyards in every end, goes out of their way to decorate the mall beautifully for Christmas. There's something beautiful about that, and it's always striking. Now here, this is a rare sighting in the wild of the lady at the shady massage parlor trying to rope me in for a massage.
That's okay, thank you. Okay. No, that's okay, thank you.
But of course I had to bail, because there was another dead wing that was calling out to me that I had to see. As always, I'd like to thank every single one of you for watching this video. Our channel has just gotten over 17,000 subscribers. It was just yesterday that we had 500 subscribers, and we're inching closer towards 20,000. Even the Discord server, we're approaching 1,000 members. And that community has grown so far. We have amazing conversations there, and I appreciate every single one of you on the Discord server. You can find a link to that in my description below. I'd also like to thank my patrons. You guys rock, you guys make this thing work, and you put gas in my tank to get to these places. So thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank the Dead Malls of Discord family and the Quite Studios research team. So for everyone that was involved in this and everybody that's been involved in the channel up until this point, thanks again, everybody. Take care.